Okay, what is up there, YouTube? This is J-Man Time, and today I have a video on the story of Libya's most powerful class of warship, or surface warship. And these warships served in the Libyan Navy for a number of decades, and were pretty much the most powerful warships used in Libya during both the Gaddafi era and during the current era of Libya. And that is the Hani class of a heavy naval frigate that has served in the Libyan Navy since 1985 and are currently still serving in the Libyan Navy today as of 2022. Way back during the Cold War, Libya was a major ally, or at least a major trade partner of the Soviet Union. And as a result, Libya purchased many of their weapon systems from the Soviet Union, including most of their naval vessels. So in the 1980s, Libya ordered the largest class of warship that they could afford at the time from the Soviet Union, and these were known as the Hani class frigate. And these vessels were laid down in 1982, and they were completed in 1985 and then transferred to the Libyan Navy in the same year of 1985. There were two ships in this class, the Dabian and the Hani. And both of these vessels entered service again in 1985, serving in the Libyan Navy under then leader Muammar Gaddafi and the Libyan Arab Jamahiriya. They served throughout the Cold War as Libya was fighting a number of proxy wars with the US and France, mainly against countries like Chad and Egypt. In the 1990s and early 2000s, they were slowly modernized to an extent by the Russians and by the Italians and to an extent by the British, as Libya had become more neutral during the post-Cold War era and was actually trying to reach out to many of their former rivals and adversaries, including the Italians and the British and even the Americans to an extent. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, there was a lot of political turmoil happening in the Arab world, and that would later lead to the Arab Spring, which would spread to Libya, and Libya would actually collapse into civil war, or a civil conflict. But many say that the conflict was actually a regime change operation. Either way, Libya basically collapsed into conflict. During the conflict, these ships would also serve in the Libyan Navy, mostly being used against rebel forces, but one of these ships would actually switch sides and join the opposition until the fall of the Gaddafi-era government in October of 2011. The Libyan War began in February of 2011 and ended in October of 2011 when the Gaddafi government was basically bombed into oblivion by French, American, and other NATO forces, along with the Libyan rebel coalition, also known as the NTC, or National Transitional Council. After the first civil war, there would be several other civil wars that happened in Libya, and starting in 2012 and raging all the way until the 2020s. But these ships, or at least one of these ships, managed to survive all of this and is still in service today. And that ship itself is the Hani. Now, her sister ship was actually sunk during the 2011 conflict. In the 2011 conflict, the Dabian was actually struck by coalition aircraft from NATO. She was badly damaged but managed to stay afloat for several months. This attack occurred on the 20th of May 2011 in the port of Tripoli, and the ship managed to survive for several months before she eventually capsized on August the 8th of 2011, thus ending the career of the Libyan frigate Dabian. Her sister ship Hani still serves in the Tripoli government navy to this day, and is one of the older warships to serve in the modern-day Libyan Navy. Now, these ships had a displacement of between 1,550 tons to 1,900 tons maximum displacement. They were powered by two large Soviet-made Kodag M8 V6 gas turbines, plus two 68B6 diesel engines. The vessels had a maximum speed of 28 knots, and they have an endurance of 3,800 nautical miles, upwards to 14,000 nautical miles maximum. The main armament are two 76mm AK-726 autocannons as their main gun armament. They also have two 30mm AK-230 anti-missile defense system. These are autocannons that are designed to shoot down enemy anti-ship missiles that get too close to the vessel. Her main missile defense system are two-barreled P-15 or P-20M termite anti-ship missiles. She also has one twin-barreled OSA-M surface-to-air missile system designed to shoot down enemy warplanes and enemy incoming missiles. They are also fitted with 4 400mm torpedo tubes and one 12-barreled RBU 6000 Smerch 2 anti-ship weapons rocket launcher. And she also has 2 depth charge racks that can hold upwards to 12 depth charges or 14 naval mines. Both vessels had a crew or have a crew of 112, and these vessels again entered service in 1985. So the Soviets basically sold this to the Libyan Navy in the 1980s. Now, as mentioned again, the El Kirdabian was sunk in 2011. Her wreck actually still sits in the Libyan harbor to this day, although most of her weapon systems have been salvaged by the Tripoli government for use in the second and ongoing Libyan civil conflicts. The Hani still serves in the modern-day Libyan Navy, and she received some technical assistance and maintenance with the help of both Turkey and Italy. And that's basically it. These were the most powerful ships, or these are the most powerful surface vessels to serve in the Libyan Navy, both during the Gaddafi era and in the modern era. So what do you think of these ships? The El Hani class of medium to heavy naval frigates from the 1980s, built in the Soviet Union. So what do you think of this? Please tell me in the comment section below. And until next time, this was a J-Man Time signing off.